press.
Hi, Melissa.
We begin with the British press reacting, of course, to yesterday's resignation of the Culture Secretary.
That's right, Maria Miller. You can see a photo of her driving away from Westminster on the front page of The Guardian. Now, she stepped down after she was found guilty of wrongly claiming £5,800 in expenses. And you can see the headline there, "This sleaze row leaves Cameron weakened as Miller resigns." Now, the conservative paper, the Daily Telegraph, was behind some of the revelations in this scandal, and they're reacting to her resignation today in their editorial, saying that though it's regrettable, it was inevitable that she would resign. The reputation of both her party and the parliament were tainted by her actions, but this paper tries to play down the damage, saying that her exit will actually allow the Tories to move on.
Other papers, of course, are not so sure and believe that serious damage has been done.
That's right. Surprise, surprise. Left-wing papers think that. The Independent, for instance, says that Maria Miller was right to resign, but unavoidable errors mean her departure has damaged both the Parliament and the Tories. There's been a lot of focus, for instance, on her very short 32-second, rather unapologetic apology that she gave in Parliament, as well as her attempt to actually obstruct the investigation. Now, David Cameron, the Prime Minister, has come under a lot of fire, a lot of criticism for mismanaging this crisis. This is a cartoon in The Independent where you can see him attempting to sacrifice Maria Miller, but instead he's just shot himself in the foot.
I'm not quite daring to look even as he does so. We're going to move on now to Indian politics. The papers are continuing to react to the world's biggest election.
That's right, that election in India, those general elections kicked off on April 7th, will last for 5 weeks. The Hindustan Times is applauding the voter turnout in the first 2 phases. For instance, the states of Assam and Tripura saw huge voter turnout, 74% and 85%. This is the editorial of the Hindustan Times that says they've shown the way, they're leading by example, and now the rest of India must follow. The Guardian, meanwhile, focuses on one of the key polling issues, and that is safety. This is an issue that's especially important for women. There's a general feeling that officials and policymakers are failing to assure basic security, especially in big cities, according to The Guardian. And of course, this has really come to the surface since the gang rape and murder of a young woman in December 2012. This prompted nationwide protests. Now, this article in The Guardian points out that this is a real key issue in these elections this year. Parties are making a real effort to try to win over the, quote, female vote. But the article points out that there are actually very few female candidates.
Moving on now, Florence, the International New York Times has an interesting report about illegal immigration in the United States.
That's right. If you take a look at the front page of the International New York Times, they're talking about a new flow of migrants that are testing the U.S. border. Basically, this article points out that this new migrant flow is coming from Central America. It's really putting strain on the resources in the U.S. And, of course, this is a very hot button issue in American politics. Jeb Bush, the former governor of Florida, is coming under fire for comments he made on Sunday. He said that the act of illegally entering America is sometimes an act of love. But what's interesting is the Wall Street Journal comes to his defense today and says his point of view makes more sense than that of his critics.
Florence, a look there at the international press and its headlines this morning. It is 26 minutes past 9. In just a couple of minutes, I'll be back with the headlines. We're going to take a quick break, though, first of all, before bringing you all the very latest news from around the world. We'll also be heading to Japan to hear the story of a man who's been released after serving 48 years on death row. Human rights defenders say the case raises disturbing questions about Japan's criminal justice system, a system that has conviction rates of more than 95%.
The Observer's Direct.
The gold rush in Guinea-Conakry has turned the Sigiri region into a modern-day El Dorado. Tens of thousands of people are scouring every inch of land in search of the precious metal. Some have struck it rich, but most people still live in extreme poverty. With our observer, Fode Kouyaté, our team set out to investigate a human and ecological disaster in the making.
The Observer's Direct. en France 24, en France24.com.